Right, my beloved Madridistas, we are in hell, my friends. We are in football hell right now. Not just the loss of this match, but also the loss of Camavinga, which is really going to cost us in the next few weeks. Let's talk about this match. Listen, Liverpool is an amazing club. They're definitely the most informed club in Europe. We knew it was going to be a tough match, but this is certainly not good enough. I thought the first 30 minutes, I'll give you my thoughts on the match in the video. The first 30 minutes, I thought we were okay. We were sort of, well placed on the pitch. We looked pretty competitive. But as the game went on, the wheels just very slowly came off. The 2-0, is fair. I think it could have been worse if not for Courtois. Kylian is completely unrecognizable, and we need to discuss that. There's so many issues and so few silver linings, but let's give credit to Liverpool. They played very well. I thought McAllister and Gravenberch were fantastic. But let's talk about the implications of this defeat because, like I say, we are in football hell right now. All right? Let me give you my thoughts. Thanks for joining me. Let's get started. My beloved Madridistas, welcome back. Okay, let's talk about last night's match because we are just in such a bad place right now. Let me start by commenting on the formation. Now, when I saw the lineup, I was quite encouraged. I thought it was probably a very sensible lineup going into the match. What I did not like was the actual formation. So the player selection, I think, was okay. I didn't have an issue with it, but this was a 4-4-2, not with a diamond that was so effective against Leganés, where you just have Camavinga as a pivot and you have Jude playing at number 10, and then two other midfielders on the wings. This was not that. This was a much more defensive 4-4-2 with Luka Modric and Camavinga playing as a double pivot, pushing Jude off to the left, which I think is a mistake because that's not where he belongs. And then playing Arda Güler on the right. Now, this was a much more defensive type of formation, which I really don't advocate, and it certainly didn't work last night. In terms of the match, look, the first 30 minutes, I didn't think were that bad. Don't forget, we're playing at Anfield against Liverpool. You know that they're going to come out with a lot of intensity. But I thought in the first 30 minutes we were well placed on the pitch. I thought the players were concentrating a lot on where they were on the pitch. I thought that we were able to contain Liverpool pretty well in the first 30 minutes in terms of, we were tracking back very well. We were blocking the wings, which against Liverpool is very important. This is a team that likes to run. They like to exploit space. They're very quick, very aggressive. And I think in the first 30 minutes we were able to contain them pretty well. But of course, we weren't able to take advantage of any of the counters because our passing up front was so sloppy. Our passing in the final third was just awful. And Arda Güler and Kylian in particular, I thought was just very sloppy with the ball. Like I say, as the game went on, Liverpool kind of grew into the match. After the 30th minute, we started to lose more balls. Liverpool started to settle into possession, much higher possession and longer spells of possession. Around the 50th minute, the wheels kind of started to come off. In the 51st minute, you had the goal by McAllister. McAllister, by the way, who had a fantastic match. 2 minutes after that, Camavinga gets injured. We knew that was going to be a really big deal because he had been by far the best player on the pitch. And then in the 60th minute, only a few minutes after that, Kylian misses the penalty. The game could have gone a different direction. Had that gone in, we'll never know. But I think Kylian's miss is just so symptomatic of what is happening with him. Just absolutely nothing is working. Now, after Mo Salah missed his penalty, there were a few minutes where we seemed to kind of get back into the match, but it didn't last very long. Like I say, we were incredibly imprecise up front. It was just so sloppy. We were losing balls in the final third that we really shouldn't have been losing. And then in the last 15, 20 minutes, it was really all Liverpool. In the 75th minute, Gabko scores his goal. This was kind of unforgivable. Courtois looked like he was going to go out to get the ball, ended up not doing it. He kind of paused and went back to the goal line, and it left Gabko completely alone. He was marked by Luka Modric. Can somebody explain to me how this is possible? What is Luka Modric doing guarding Gabko? But it was, anyway, very unfortunate. Look, I thought Liverpool played a very good game. We got to give them credit. Like I say, McAllister and Gravenberch I thought were phenomenal. But the scoreline really could have been worse. So this is a game where we started, I think, okay, and things just kind of slipped out of our hands, and eventually the wheels just came off completely. In terms of sort of broader observations and players, like I say, this 4-4-2 formation pushing Jude off to the left is not ideal. Look, Jude worked his ass off, okay? This is the player that works the hardest of the entire team. He does not stop running. He does not stop defending, protects the ball incredibly well. But when you push him off to the left, you're forcing him to run more than he has to. When he plays in the number 10 position, he's sort of naturally involved in the attack, and he has a slightly more narrow range of play. When you push him off to the left, because he always wants to contribute, always wants to help, you're forcing him to run a lot more. He's got to go in the middle and then go back to the left. He's got to go up and go back to the left. He's got to go back and defend, but then get back to the left and then get back in the middle. And then I find that it makes him run unnecessarily, and he's not as present in the attack as he needs to be. So the 4-4-2 is the right thing to do, but not this defensive double pivot 4-4-2. That's my opinion on the formation. You guys can let me know what you think. Okay, the injury situation is completely alarming. Okay, I've never seen anything like this in all my years. I've never seen so many really massive injuries to the most important players in one season. I've just never seen anything like this. I think the calendar has a lot to do with it, and I do partially blame FIFA and UEFA for continuously adding insignificant matches to a calendar so that they can make more money and collect more money. But this is to the detriment of the players' health, and I think to the quality of football and even spectator interest, because we're just cluttering the calendar with stupid matches that shouldn't be played. And the result is you get these, injuries left, right, and center. And it's a real problem. I mean, we're now down to the bare bones on this squad. Okay, Courtois, I'll mention. Look, he was an absolute savior. This could have been 4-0 if not for Courtois. Again, the only mistake that reproach that I would make is that in that Gabko goal, he should have come out. You cannot allow someone a header in the 3-yard box, in the small box. That is your territory. If you're a goalkeeper, especially if you're 6'7", that is your territory. And you should not be intimidated under any sort. I don't care how many people are cluttered in that area. That is your zone, and you are 6'7", and you are Thibaut Courtois. That is your ball. And it is unforgivable to sort of take a step out, come back to the line, and sort of wait. That was a very big mistake. But like I say, if not for that one error, Courtois saved another 3 goals very, very clearly. Okay, Mendy, I don't know what the hell is going on with Mendy. He's just not having his year. He has always been such a solid defender. That was not the case last night. The penalty was completely unforgivable. This is an amateur mistake. You know that Salah likes to make cuts inside the box. He's very skillful. And to fall for a simple turn, for a simple dribble, it's just so innocent and so gullible. I don't know what happened to Mendy, but he is certainly not himself. Okay, Luka Modric. I'm getting tired of saying this. Luka Modric is 39 years old. He should not be playing from the first minute against a really physical team like Liverpool that's going to be running at you nonstop. It's just not something that I think he can sustain. And he doesn't cover the same amount of ground he used to. I think Modric needs to be used at the end of matches when he's fresh and no one else is, but not from the first minute in a match like this. I thought that was a mistake. Okay, Fede. Look, Fede does the best he can as a right back, and I think he does a pretty good job, but it's just not his position. I mean, again, this is such a dysfunctional situation right now. After Real Madrid made the changes and Fede moved up to the midfield, he looked a lot more in the flow of things. He looked a lot more comfortable, much more natural. But this is the predicament we're in. Okay, Kylian, we have to talk about Kylian. I don't know what the hell is going on. This is I don't know who this guy is. I mean, Kylian, we all know who Kylian Mbappé is. This is a guy that scored 4 goals in a World Cup final. He's already won a World Cup. He was the best player at PSG for years. Even when Messi and Neymar were there, Kylian was by far the best player. I do not know what is going on. I think, he doesn't defend. He doesn't finish. The finishing is off. I think that's a matter of confidence and it's psychological. But he's not defending, and that I find completely unforgivable. He just doesn't make the defensive effort that we see out of Vini. Kylian just doesn't. It's just kind of very inefficient running, but it never seems to produce any pressure on the rival in terms of recovering the ball. Look, another thing I need to say about Kylian, and I really didn't like this last night, when he missed the penalty, he had that very dramatic moment where he puts his hands in, his head in his hands and sort of lifts his shirt. Okay, this is not the body language of a Real Madrid player. This is not the body. You are in Real Madrid. We don't look defeated. We don't look like, I don't care what the scoreline is. If you miss a penalty, you lift your head and you refocus and you play harder than before. You don't put your head in your hands and sort of, you are signaling that you are done, that you're giving up. And that's counter to the culture of this club. And that reaction, I don't know, it just sort of pissed me off a little bit because it was the wrong signal to send to himself and to his teammates and to everybody else. Okay, Camavinga, I'm tired of saying this on my videos. He's fantastic, okay? This is an absolute gem of a player. We are going to miss him. This injury is going to hurt a lot more than Tchouaméni's. This injury is going to hurt us a lot because Camavinga was bringing an energy, especially in our defensive efforts. He was stealing absolutely everything. We are going to miss him. So I really struggle to see how on earth we piece this together with all of these injuries. Okay, let me discuss Jude. Jude, I think this guy's going to die if we're not careful, okay? The amount of effort that Jude makes every single match, I mean, it's kind of hard to watch. I mean, it really, I get frustrated and exhausted watching him constantly running. He's defending in every area of the pitch. But again, this is not, he should be focused more on attacking duties. And I think it's great that he contributes defensively. But what we are asking this kid to do, it's just too much. And when he plays on the left, I find him out of position. I find him constantly trying to find a role because it's just not his natural spot. So I don't know. I think Jude, I think he played well. I mean, he gave 110% and he did absolutely everything he could. But I'm just very concerned physically that we're wearing him into the ground. And don't be surprised if the next injury is Jude because he's working far too hard because many of the other teammates are not. Okay, the changes. Ancelotti, again, I don't understand the changes sometimes. Enric, why the only minutes Enric ever plays are when there are 10 minutes left and we're down 2-0. I mean, how do you expect to, why do we wait so long for these things? It was very clear that Kylian wasn't going to score last night. These are changes that could be made earlier. And, honestly, I feel bad for Enric because by the time he comes into the match, the game is already sort of broken and disjointed, and he's asked to do something impossible. I mean, he always comes in when we're down by 2 goals or something like that. So I don't know. I'm still struggling with Ancelotti's changes, and Ancelotti needs to be very careful because we are entering, a very dangerous territory for him. Okay, the only silver linings, and I think we all saw this, Asensio is proving to be a sort of mini Nacho. Very solid performance. He's a young kid, but takes absolutely no shit. I really like the scuffle he had with Darwin Núñez. He was making a statement that, I might be young, this might be Anfield, but you're not pushing me around. I think he showed a lot of personality and was critical in some key one-on-one situations. I thought he played very, very well. The other silver lining, well, it's not silver really. Camavinga, we know he's wonderful, but now he's out. Courtois remains a savior, and he's an asset that saves us on so many occasions. That's a slight silver lining. And then, of course, Brahim, I think, played pretty well, and I think that was kind of a positive takeaway too. But other than that, this is just a really bad situation that we're in. I mean, if you look at the schedule, We've lost 3 Champions League matches now. We have some pretty, not obvious games coming up, because the game away to Atalanta is going to be very difficult. Atalanta is top of the Serie A. They haven't lost since September, I think. I mean, they're playing very well. We have to go to Bergamo. This is going to be a very, very difficult match. And of course, we're going to have to play extra matches. We're not going to make the top 8. That's almost mathematically impossible, which means we're going to have to play a playoff to continue in the Champions League exactly in the year that you don't want extra matches. This is already a record-breaking year in terms of matches. The last thing we need is 2 more matches to go on in the Champions League. This is a disaster from a scheduling standpoint, physically as well. And I think we have so many injuries now that I think the injuries are going to start to dictate the formation, and not just the lineup, but the way we play, because we have so many mission-critical absences now. The Kylian Mbappé situation, again, I repeat, is a mystery. This is an absolute mystery to me. We are in survival mode now. One thing I want to mention to you guys that really bothered me too, this really pissed me off. I was looking at the statistics at the end of the match in terms of running, and Liverpool had 60+% possession, right? We were defending most of the match. Now you would expect that the team that's defending does the most running, because we know that teams that defend have to run more than the teams in possession. Well, despite Liverpool having 60+% possession, they ran more than we did. I was looking at the stats. They ran 108 kilometers. We ran 103. I mean, and we were the team without the ball. Like this is completely unacceptable, and that has to change, because when things aren't working tactically and when things just aren't panning out in terms of finishing, the one thing that you can control is your work rate. It's the one thing that you can control with total certainty. And if you work harder than the other team and you run harder than the other team, you have a chance of rescuing matches that perhaps you don't deserve to win, or where you're not playing up to your standard. But this was not the case. Other than the first 30 minutes where I thought we looked quite well placed on the pitch, and the rest of the match, just very gradually, we descended into just slower play and imprecise play. So look, this is all very worrisome. There's still, of course, a chance that as players come back, we start to recover form. But this is just the perfect storm. If you combine the injuries, the tactical issues, the fact that Kylian is just probably the worst moment of his career. If you put all of these things together, we're in a very, very tricky place. So, look, I can only hope that we manage to turn things around as key players return. But again, we are in football hell, my friends. So, anyway, look, I just wanted to share my thoughts with you. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section. But thanks for joining me. And despite everything, no matter what, a la Madrid. See you guys soon.